know COVID impacted the transportation industry in a big way. The car hauling niche was no exception. Let's take a dive into the world of auto transportation with Yellow Brick Transport.
Well, thanks for joining us today. We want to know, what is Yellow Brick Transport?
We started as an auto transport broker. We specialize in auto transportation across the country. We're on all three sides: carrier, dispatch, and broker. And our most recent venture is the consulting side, where we actually teach students how to get into the industry with very little money down and coming in with as much experience as possible. Being a broker, you work with a lot of carriers and dispatchers. So we were given carriers load here, a load there, building relationships over the phone to the point where they're just like, hey, can you be my go-to guy? Can you just keep my truck loaded? So we got into the dispatching side. We started dispatching carriers. From there, we started our first truck, right? It just opened up a whole nother side of the business that I had no experience in because I don't have a CDL. I never had one. I was like, there's no point of me buying trucks if I don't have a CDL. But I realized that's not true. If you can manage the business properly, you can take care of these guys that want to drive, build these relationships, make sure they stay with you, and driver retention is huge. I always preach about that because it's one thing nowadays to find a driver, but it's even harder to retain them because there's so much demand for them, right? And when you talk about auto transport, it's not like your typical freight trucking where these drivers back up to the loading dock, they get loaded, and they keep it moving. You're loading 8 to 10 cars. You're going to multiple different locations. It's very labor intensive for the driver. Harder to even retain those guys because snow, rain, freezing cold, heat, it doesn't matter. They have to get out and they have to load these trucks. In the meantime, there was a lot of drivers that used to contact me, or dispatchers that would contact me and say, hey, can you teach me how to do the other side of the industry? I've been in the truck, my husband's been in the truck, my uncle's been in the truck for so long, I want to get them out and put them in an office. They know the industry, their experience, and so forth. What I came up with is a academy, a course that they can go online, they can do it at their own pace. It's very extensive, it explains everything that they need to know in there, examples, to get them ready to join on the brokering side or the dispatching side. After doing that, I realized there's a huge demand for this, because most people saw during COVID, trucking actually boomed opposed to it going down. So when you see an industry growing while every other industry is coming down, you know that this is a solid place to be.
So how has the new vehicle model shortage impacted your business and just the auto transport business in general?
Last year when the pandemic hit, we were actually super busy up until about, I want to say June. And for like a 4 to 6 week period, all the manufacturers were kind of stalling, trying to figure out what's their next play, right? And at the same time, those individuals that were buying vehicles, they're not gonna not buy a vehicle that they had planned on buying because of a pandemic. Everybody needs their car. In auto transportation, you literally can be a broker and purchase leads of individuals that need to move their car. So unlike other sales and other industries, these are individuals that are saying, hey, I need to move my car from point A to point B. Can you give me a quote? Your only competition is those other companies, mostly brokers, that are giving them a quote. But in our industry, if you can explain the process properly, you build that connection, and you give good customer service, you're gonna do your numbers.
And of course, let us know where people can go to find out more about Yellow Brick Transport and your story.
Our website is yellowbricktransport.com. We're gonna have our academy website as well, which is gonna launch soon. You'll see it all on our Instagram. So that's a good place to follow us and connect with us. So that's the shift we're trying to make right now.